Have you ever lost everything? Your home, your family, and even your faith in life, all in a single night? If life stripped away all that you loved, would you have the courage to start again from nothing? This is the story of a poor boy from Kentucky. A boy who turned despair into a journey that reshaped his destiny. It takes us back to a time before cities glowed with neon lights, when small American towns still carried the scent of wet earth and fresh grass after the rain. In a quiet corner of rural Kentucky, beneath the shade of an old oak tree, sat a 13-year-old boy named Ethan Moore. His clothes were torn, his lips cracked and dry, and his eyes reflected a pain far beyond his years. Ethan was born into a poor family. His parents were farmhands, working long hours just to afford 2 simple meals a day. But one summer, a massive flood changed everything. The raging water swallowed their small home, and his parents vanished, never to return. When the flood finally receded, Ethan was left utterly alone. No house, no family, no one to turn to. At first, the townspeople helped him, offering food, shelter, and kind words. But as days passed, compassion began to fade. Some whispered, "That orphan boy won't make it." Others muttered, "He'll end up begging on the streets." Ethan was still a child, but he already understood a painful truth. If he wanted to survive, he would have to build his own life from nothing. With a fragile spark of hope, he decided to walk toward Louisville, believing the city might offer a chance to work. But city life was harsher than he could ever imagine. People hurried past, eyes fixed on their own worlds, too busy to notice a hungry boy sitting by the road. For days, Ethan begged for food, but inside, he felt only emptiness. Then one cold night, as he sat shivering on a lonely sidewalk, a middle-aged man stopped beside him. The man wore a simple flannel shirt and a worn-out cap, but his eyes were kind, calm, yet full of depth. "Son," he asked gently, "why are you sitting here begging?" Ethan looked up, his voice barely a whisper. "I have nowhere else to go. What else can I do?" The man nodded slowly, his voice calm but full of meaning. "You know, son, God only helps those who help themselves. If you truly want to change your life, I can show you a better way." Ethan hesitated for a moment, but something in the man's tone, so warm, so sincere, made him trust him. "My name is Mr. Harris," the man continued. "I work at a small grocery store in town. If you're willing, I'll teach you how to live honestly and earn with your own 2 hands. Ethan's eyes lit up with a spark of hope. "Please, sir, teach me." Mr. Harris led him to a modest corner store that sold candy, milk, and daily essentials. The warm smell of bread and the sound of a creaking fan filled the air. He turned to Ethan and said, "If you work here, you'll earn your own money. But remember this, son, patience and honesty are the most important parts of hard work." Ethan nodded eagerly. The very next day, he began his new life. He swept the floor, dusted shelves, and washed the counters. His arms ached, his feet were sore, But for the first time in years, his heart felt alive. That evening, Mr. Harris handed him $5 and a warm sandwich. Ethan stared at it for a long moment. It wasn't much, yet to him, it meant everything. He lifted the sandwich to his face, breathed in the warmth, and whispered to himself, "This feels different. This is what dignity tastes like." Mr. Harris smiled gently. "Hard work has its own flavor, kid. But don't forget, this is just the beginning. Life truly starts when you learn to stand on your own 2 feet." That night, under the flickering streetlight outside the store, Ethan made himself a promise. He would never beg again. From then on, he worked tirelessly. But soon, he realized that cleaning floors and wiping shelves alone wouldn't change his future. He wanted to learn, to grow, to understand more. One afternoon, he gathered the courage to ask, "Mr. Harris, can I learn more? Maybe help with customers, or count the money?" Mr. Harris looked at him, a proud smile tugging at his lips. "If you're ready to take responsibility, I'll teach you everything I know." And so he did. Day by day, Ethan learned how to count cash, speak politely with customers, and organize the store's stock. Every lesson taught him more than skill. It taught him purpose. He began to understand something profound. Destiny doesn't change when you wait for it. It changes only when you have the courage to move. Months later, one afternoon while Mr. Harris was away, a customer stepped into the store. "Hey kid," the man said, "give me 2 pounds of flour." Ethan froze for a second. His hands trembled slightly, but he took a deep breath, found the right bag, weighed it carefully, and handed it to the customer with a nervous smile. When Mr. Harris returned and heard what had happened, he smiled proudly. "You're learning fast, Ethan. Keep working like this, and someday you'll make something big out of your life." Those words warmed Ethan's heart. For the first time, he felt truly proud of himself. But success, as life would soon remind him, never comes without trials. One hectic afternoon, overwhelmed by the rush of customers, Ethan accidentally handed the wrong product to a man. The customer became furious and complained to Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris frowned, his tone firm and disappointed. "If you can't handle the job, maybe you shouldn't be doing it." The words struck Ethan like thunder. His throat tightened, his chest felt heavy. "Maybe I'm just not meant to do anything great," he thought, as he stared at the floor. That night, Mr. Harris found him sitting alone behind the shop. He placed a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder and said softly, "Son, failure doesn't mean you've lost. Real victory begins when you rise again after you fall." Those words rekindled the fire in Ethan's heart. From that day forward, he didn't just work. He observed, studied, and absorbed everything around him. He learned how to track sales, organize stock, and communicate with suppliers. He watched how the business ran and began to see patterns that others overlooked. One quiet evening, as they closed the shop, Ethan asked, "Sir, do you think one day I could open a store of my own?" Mr. Harris smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling. If you work hard and stay patient, nothing is impossible. But remember, you must believe in yourself and give your dream the time it needs to grow. Years passed. Ethan saved every penny he could. In the mornings, he helped a local farmer at the market, pushing carts of vegetables before sunrise. During the day, he worked at the grocery store, never complaining, never resting. Rain or shine, he showed up, determined and steady. Each night, he would sit by the dim light of his rented room, count his small pile of coins, and whisper to himself, "One day, this will build my dream." And finally, that day arrived. With the money he'd saved and Mr. Harris's blessing, Ethan bought a small food cart. He set it up at the corner of Main Street, serving tea and sandwiches to workers, students, and anyone who needed a moment of warmth in their day. That first morning, as the steam rose from his pot and the aroma of fresh tea filled the air, Ethan's eyes welled with tears. It wasn't just tea he was serving. It was the flavour of perseverance, patience, and pride. On his very first day, as Ethan poured a cup of tea for his first customer, his eyes filled with tears. Because what he was serving wasn't just tea. It was the taste of struggle, of patience, and of pride. People loved it. The aroma, the warmth, the kindness behind every cup. Before long, Ethan's little tea stand became the heart of the town, a place where people came not just for tea, but for hope. One afternoon, Mr. Harris stopped by. He watched Ethan serving customers with calm confidence and smiled warmly. "Look at you now, Ethan," he said softly. This is what destiny truly means. When your own hands build the future you once dreamed of." Ethan lowered his head, his voice trembling as tears rolled down his cheeks. "Everything I have today," he whispered, "is because you believed in me." But Ethan didn't stop there. He began teaching other poor children how to work, how to earn, and most importantly, how to believe in themselves. He often told them, "If you work hard, you'll never go hungry." Years passed. The little tea cart grew into a warm, family-style diner. Ethan bought himself a small house, built a peaceful life, and gained something far more valuable than wealth: unshakable self-belief. One quiet night, as he sat outside his diner, Ethan looked across the street, to the very same sidewalk where he once begged as a child. His eyes glistened, not with sorrow, but with deep contentment. He smiled to himself, realizing that he had become living proof of one simple truth. Destiny doesn't change when you wait. It changes when you work for it. So, if life ever knocks you down, don't wait, don't beg, don't give up. Start small, stay honest, keep going. Because true success isn't something you're given, it's something you build with your own hands. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a spark of hope today. Tell us in the comments, what did you learn from Ethan's journey? And if you love stories of resilience, kindness, and inner strength, then subscribe to DOLA Tales, where every story reminds you that your destiny lies in your own hands. Subscribe now and join a community that believes in the quiet power of hard work and the courage to never give up.